have 39 of those. Okay, I should be good. This time I have a Mewtwo. I'm gonna beat him. In fact, I'm gonna go overboard just to beat him. Let's see, how many of these can I put on Mewtwo? Whatever, it's the last boss, I might as well use all of them. Who needs an elevator anyways? Definitely not me. Oh, I have to fly here, then fly to... Actually, wait, I could have... What am I doing? I'm going to Mount Silver. Durr. Okay, it's capturing audio. Good. I think, yeah, Moltres is on the left, but I have no interest in getting it. Alright. It goes up here. Oh. What's this? No. Be right back. Choice specs. Look at that special attack, jeez. Hi, Fury. We're about to watch me sweep his entire team with Mewtwo. That little jerk from the first game in this series. You ever play a Pokemon game, Fury? Dot 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 dot. True. Snorlax. Yeah, sure. How much is this gonna do? Oh my. Oh, that hurt. Give me a crit. He has so much health, it's ridiculous. Quit that. Uh-oh. That's fine. He's gonna get rezzed. Crit, really? Go right ahead, send him out. Almost got one tapped. Oh shit, Mew got frozen. Give him a full restore. Gosh, these health bars. Give me a crit. That Blastoise has too much health. Oh, you're dead as hell. One tap? Almost. Oh, he killed himself. Dot dot exclamation point. Dot 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 dot. We did it. Another credits roll. There's so much crap you can do in this game after beating it. Might be a bit overwhelming for some. I tried using Togepi, but I never really found room for it, to be honest. I was realizing, oh, I have a Pidgey, actually. What am I doing using a Togepi? I kind of like the look of this game, too. Especially compared to the 3D ones, which look ugly. I've seen some videos of those. Not bad for a 2010 game. What, am I locked out of my save now? Wait 1 sec.
Park in the uni.
Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver are the best remakes of all time and the best games in the Pokemon series. That
True.
might be a bold statement, but these games brought Johto to life by bringing them into the modern era with graphical updates, quality of life updates, and loads of new content. The Johto region has always been a fan favorite. The second generation of Pokemon took everything that the first generation did right and expanded upon it, by not only allowing you to experience a full new region with loads of new Pokemon, but also go back and explore the entire first game's region set in the future. For the mathematicians out there, that is double the amount of gyms that you get in any other Pokemon title. The most impressive part of that is that none of the gyms feel like filler.
8 plus 8 is 16.
Each gym is unique and offers a different challenge. My biggest fear when stepping into Heart Gold and Soul Silver for the first time was that they were going to strip away some of the content from the originals. But not only did they take the original games and do them justice, they also kept the quality of life adjustments that we saw in the more recent Pokemon titles. Prior to these games, special attacks were reserved for certain types of Pokemon, and physical attacks were reserved for others. This created some awful imbalances for Pokemon like Gyarados, who had really strong attack stats, but terrible moves. With the Gen 4 games, they made it so each individual move had the distinction between being physical and being special. This change was kept for all of the Pokemon games that followed, including Heart Gold and Soul Silver. This took Pokemon who may have been outshined and gave them the chance to be useful on a team. But the most important quality of life upgrade was the fact that any Pokemon can follow you wherever you go. Whatever Pokemon is placed first in your party will follow you wherever you're walking. That means you can take a 900-pound Wailord and bring it into a single family home. Walking with your Pokemon raises their friendliness level.
Yo, if Pokemon were real, people would abuse that Wailord. They would they would just release it in a random place.
It allows them to pick up items as
and
they're
trash
going.
it.
The best part about this though is that when you walk with a shiny Pokemon, it shows the shiny sprite, allowing you to flex if you find a shiny, making it that much more rewarding. This little quality of life update makes it have so much more depth for the player to bring their team along with them. You get to see your starter Pokemon grow and progress into their final form as you explore the region, and it makes you feel like a more accomplished trainer as you go on. Even at the start of the game, seeing your Pokemon following you is so refreshing. At the start of your journey, Professor Elm gives you the choice between 3 different starters: Chikorita, Totodile, and Cyndaquil. Even though Professor Elm is built like a pencil, these are some of the best starters in Pokemon history. Shortly after picking your Pokemon, you're introduced to your new rival, Silver. He breaks into Professor Elm's lab and steals whatever Pokemon is super effective against you. Silver is what I want all Pokemon rivals to be like. He is so hateable and that makes you genuinely want to beat him whenever you encounter him. He has an incredible story that gets more complicated as the game progresses, with great character development compared to the other rivals. Watching Silver progress from someone who doesn't care about his Pokemon and only wants to get stronger to someone who genuinely cares for his Pokemon is incredible to see. It makes other rivals in the series like Barry and May seem so dull by comparison. Having someone who has a completely different view of Pokemon and sees them as a tool rather than a companion adds a great dynamic which is not replicated in other games. When you see Barry as your rival, he's your childhood neighbor who has too much energy and clearly needs to be medicated, but you don't feel the need to beat him. The rivalry with Silver is more of a clash of ideals instead of a friendly rivalry, which makes the conflict so much more engaging. To me, the pacing of this game is so much faster than other titles, which is most likely because there's twice the amount of gyms to get through. The hardest part of the early game is the third gym with Whitney's milk tank, who hits like a Mack truck. Ultimately, all the gyms in the Johto region feel unique and interesting, which makes exploring the region that much more engaging. Heart Gold and Soul Silver are a direct continuation of the story from Red and Blue, which means you get to see what happens after the game. Team Rocket is going out of their way to cause trouble again after their beloved leader Giovanni went missing at the end of the first titles. While thwarting Team Rocket's plans to collect Slowpoke tails and get their leader back, you beat all 8 gyms and the Elite Four and finish the story as the champion. Except, now you have to go do it again and go through all of the Kanto gyms with scaled up difficulty due to being the champion. This game is the only 2-in-1 Pokemon experience, which makes it so much more rewarding to play the post-game. Heart Gold and Soul Silver has so much endgame content, it is unreal, allowing you to take on all the gym leaders from the past game after experiencing all of the new region. This is something so unique to this game, and I wish was done in more titles. The Kanto region feels just as alive as it did in the previous title, and you get to see everything that's changed in the time that passed. This is a great way to appeal to the nostalgic feelings of old fans. All the gym leaders that you know and love are still there, with the addition of Blue, who replaced Giovanni, and Janine, who replaced Koga because he got promoted to the Elite Four. Having 8 more gyms to complete after the first game is such a nice feeling, and getting to go back and see all of the old gym leaders is even more fun than in the first games. You know what to expect from the gyms since you've beaten them before, but to see them with scaled up teams is so refreshing. Once you complete all 16 gyms, you get to recomplete the Elite Four with scaled difficulty, and then you can finally challenge the real final boss. The legendary trainer Red is sitting on top of Mount Silver waiting for someone to give him an actual challenge. The battle with Red is the best battle in Pokemon history. The legend surrounding him and his incredibly strong team of Pokemon makes this the battle for the ages. And what's most impressive is that you get to...
He has all 3 starters, right? Yeah. I wonder if, let's see, is Pikachu's level 88? Maybe that implies that Yellow is the canon Pokemon.
Makes this the battle for the ages. And what's most impressive is that you get to fight your past self. You get to battle the Pokemon equivalent of Mike Tyson in his prime. The challenge that this offers makes this the best test of strength ever in Pokemon. This fight was also in the original games, but with the quality of life updates, it just is so much more satisfying. And just in case the 16 gyms and Red were not enough, the postgame also offers the Battle Frontier. The Battle Frontier works just like it did in Emerald, where you work to achieve a win streak in the selected location to earn battle points. You can use those battle points in the shop to buy items, or scratch-offs if you want to feel like a gambling addict. With the amount of content that comes in this game, it is incredible to me that this is not the standard when you're remaking a game. Not only did it take the incredible Gold and Silver games,
so how about that Diamond and Pearl remake?
It added elements from the story of Crystal with a focus on Suicune throughout the game. The amount of post-game content in this game sets it apart from other video game remakes. It takes the beautiful formula that Pokemon is known for and adds so much more without taking away anything else. None of what they add feels like a gimmick, and all of it feels like it enhances the experience as opposed to making it something entirely new. I never hear anyone talking about how difficult these games can actually be. Of course you have the difficult red fight, but even around the Kanto region you have extremely strong Pokemon that make it hard to breeze your way through. The main complaint about the modern Pokemon games is how easy they can be.
Are you kidding me?
You can take one Pokemon.
All I did was press one move most gym fights. Are you stupid?
Pokemon through the entire story.
Why do
and
people
not
keep thinking Pokemon games were hard?
have to worry about any challenges along the way.
Uh,
What
Watch my
makes Heart
playthrough.
Gold and Soul Silver
Look
the
what I
best
did
remake of all
throughout
time
most
is
of the
that
gyms,
Pokemon
buddy.
has learned what makes their games special. They made this game as a labor of love for Pokemon fans who look back at the old games in the series and find nostalgia, all while keeping things in the games that fans of the modern era love. The optional addition of using the Pokewalker to bring Pokemon with you and level them up by taking steps adds a personal connection to these Pokemon and makes it so you feel like your real life is affecting your game, which is something that is not done in other games. It seems to be a trend in gaming companies to take their old titles and remake or remaster them to bring them onto modern hardware. When
Maybe
remaking
they're
a
too
game,
easy.
it is hard to find the balance between keeping what works in the old
Why
game.
is
Making a game, it is hard to find the balance.
Why is he like he's recording a video
what works in the old
on
game
the video?
and what fans love,
Yeah, look at this. There's a
and
bar at the
adding
bottom.
new things to make it worth purchasing again. What Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver do so well is keep things that work and add smaller things
Yeah, he
to
got
it
his ass
that not
beat
only make
earlier.
new fans
You
happy,
missed it,
but make
Dan.
old fans feel like they are somehow playing their old game, but
I spammed
experiencing
Psychic
something
on him with
completely
Mewtwo
new.
and choice
It's
specs.
really hard to keep your old fans happy while trying to bring in a new audience.
He got
all while
body. That
keeping
Pikachu right there, he got one tapped by
everybody
Mewtwo.
entertained. And Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver do this perfectly. Not only are Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver the best Pokemon games to be released, they're also the
True.
best remakes of any
Even though
video
I haven't
game
played
ever
that many
made,
other ones.
and should be the standard when other companies are looking to remake their game. If you made it this far in the video, thank you for watching. I hope that you have an incredible day, and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on our 1,000 subscriber giveaway special. As always, I hope you and your family have an incredible day, and make sure you subscribe.
Part 3 was a ROM hack. It adds another island. 2 is enough. You don't need 3. Jeez. What's this?
I told ChatGPT to take down Red. What team should I make?
Tyranitar, Lapras, Lucario, Garchomp, Magnezone, Gengar. Use Earthquake.
Easy. Now Blastoise is out.
The best counter here is Magnezone.
Uh-oh. Blastoise one-shot.
Oof, tough break. Let's pivot to Lapras.
Yeah, that's gonna hurt. Alright, we're good. Venusaur is out.
Bring in Gengar.
That's annoying.
You'll need to rely on Sludge Bomb once Gengar wakes up.
Ah, okay. Venusaur killed my Gengar.
Switching to Tyranitar.
Okay, alright. Now Lapras is out.
Use Crunch, especially since it's weak to Dark-type moves.
What? Well done. So using Tyranitar was not the right play.
Let's go with Lucario.
Now Red's Charizard is out.
With Lucario, you've got the advantage. Charizard.
Why?
Send out Garchomp.
Stone Edge it is.
Keep going with Earthquake.
ChatGPT actually managed to win. I told ChatGPT to take down Red. What?
This is the future. Cynthia next? That's my girlfriend. Send out Garchomp was really all it needed. Yep. Garchomp was so broken, he was like basically the best Pokemon in OU. In competitive Pokemon play before they banned him. Play. People do this. Soul Silver, Red, lowest. Oh. Low level final battle. He's higher level than me. Well, okay, his Mewtwo's probably level 70. He's gonna just one-tap this Pikachu, like I did. 78? Oh yeah, I think Mewtwo and Mew can just learn every single move in the game. Physical Mewtwo, yeah, he has like more special attack, but it doesn't matter. Because he has such high attack that he can just one-tap this Pikachu. Hitmonlee. Oh, must be nice one-shotting a Snorlax. Even my Mewtwo couldn't one-shot it. Red Gyarados. Yeah, and which Pokemon games have you played? What gen have you played up to? I forget. Did you say X and Y? Did one before an X and Y? I think this one is the latest one I've ever played. So I'm just up to Gen 4. I might try Black and White next, we'll see. I mean, I'm woke, so I guess I have to play the Black version. Waterfall. Black best starter. It'll be a meta sheep this time. I think it was the pig Pokemon.
Ah yes, Pokemon Black and White. Two of my favorite games in the Pokemon franchise. You had a great story.
Yeah, it looks basically the same. I don't know if I want to play it now that I think about it. I think I'm just gonna get franchise fatigue. Because it's gonna be like
Interesting characters, and of
the
course...
same game again.
But it seems like I'm forgetting something.
Takes place in America?
I remember, there's like 3 of them. They're at the beginning of the game. And one of them got me a ton of dislikes. But what am I forgetting?
The starters?
Oh yeah, those things. How could I forget about them? Oh yeah, that's why. Get out of my head!
Anyways, Arizo and I.
Whoa, wait a minute. Who are you?
Oh, I'm the Silver Slasher. You know, like, what's going on, Shiny Crew? I'm the Silver Slasher.
Oh yeah, I've known you for 2 years. Wait, how the f did I forget that?
So we're going to help you guys make the right decision on what statistically is the best starter. Of course, there is no correct or incorrect decision on what starter to pick, but there
Yeah, the game's
definitely
too
is
easy,
a
it doesn't
best
matter.
Pokemon that will benefit you the most.
And in case you haven't seen the previous best starter video, we will be taking a look at each important character's individual Pokemon and rating each starter's
Hold on,
level
that
of
electric
advantage or
girl's kinda hot.
disadvantage on a scale of 1 to 5. 1 being totally disadvantaged and 5 being the best. We take a look at stats, type matchups, moves, basically everything. And we don't just take into account the gyms in Elite Four either, we also look at rival battles and evil teams since they are both prominent in the story.
All of this should help us get a good idea of who the most
3
beneficial starter
hours?
to choose really would be. Just
Watching a
remember, there are
movie
no
on
real
stream?
opinions here, so if your favorite isn't quote-unquote the best, then don't get mad at us. The math told us so.
If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and share this video with a friend. And with that being said, let's get started.
True, actually.
Off with my favorite of the three, Snivy. Leaf Form Danger Noodle is one of the best grass types in the Unova region. Since you could easily find something to take the place of one of the other starter types on your team, my guess is that picking Snivy would be more beneficial than picking the others. Am I right or am I right?
Well, you're actually wrong, big boy. Wait, why did I say that in an Asian accent? Although Snivy is also my favorite of the three, it's surprisingly the worst starter to pick.
What?
How could this happen to me? I made my mistakes.
Hold on, before
Alright, let's
you
look at the
sink into
dislike
chronic
video of this
depression,
video.
let me tell you why it's...
Did I say video of this video? Damn, I must have had a stroke or some shit. If I'm speaking like this. 2K.
Off with my favorite of the three, Snivy. Leaf Form Danger Noodle is one of the best grass types in the Unova region. Since you could easily find something to take the place of one of the other starter types on your team, my guess is that picking Snivy would be more beneficial than picking the others. Am I right or am I right?
Well, you're actually wrong, big boy. Wait, why did I say that in an Asian accent?
Really good?
Although Snivy
I don't know
is
if I
also
watched
my
the
favorite of
entire
the
thing on
three,
stream.
it's
It'll take
surprisingly
forever.
the worst starter to pick.
What?
How could this happen to me? I made my mistakes.
Hold on, before you sink into chronic depression, let me tell you why it's the worst. Well, if you take a look at all the important characters, Snivy only does great against Clay and Bianca. Anywhere else, he'll struggle. The important characters.
Oh, this is the game she's from. That red-haired girl in the background. Yeah, okay, this is the game she's from. That makes sense.
Snivy only does great against Clay and Bianca.
I've seen a lot of
Anywhere else, he'll struggle or go even at 3.
fans
Now that you
of
mention
that
it, it does struggle with a lot of
character.
the important characters. I mean, it is weak to Chili, Berg, Skyla, Bryson, and I mean, it does struggle with leaders like Iris and Drayden, but I mean, who didn't struggle with dragons before Gen 6?
Not to mention, it also struggles with your rival Charon and when he's at the Elite Four and gets this. Against Charon, Snivy has to worry about his Unpheasant who has the flinching stab move Air Slash, and to put insult to injury, it has Super Luck and is holding the Scope Lens. What the frick, Charon? After that, you'll also have to, of course, worry about his starter. Not to mention, it also isn't super effective against any of his other team members.
Dang.
Snivy just has a
I'd pick
bad time.
Snivy
When it comes to
just
M,
for its
all
aura.
three starters do god-awful against the legendary, so just pretend
Hey, look at
they
that
aren't
look.
there for a little.
He's
As for
like,
the other
"I'm
five,
better than you,
Costa is
bitch."
really the only one Superior can handle. Vanilluxe has the obvious type advantage.
Its evolution
with
looks
Blizzard and
kind of cool
Frostbreath.
too.
Archeops has acrobatics, and Zoroark has flamethrower. Klinklang doesn't have anything super effective,
Clang
but still
Clang.
superior by resisting, well, every move it has. When it comes to Getsis, oh dear. I mean, it can handle Cofagrigus, I guess. Whether it's a poison jab, X-Scissor, flamethrower, or fire blast, it's gonna have a bad time. Even Seismitoad, the Pokemon 4 times weak to grass, can counter with Sludge Wave.
Another thing
Dang.
we should probably mention is Alder. This is a bit of a sticky situation since these are the only Pokemon games in which the credits roll before you become champion, so there's no main story fight with him. However, Alder is a very important character, so we'll make an exception here. And since we will be talking about the Elite Four rematches because you still have to beat the Elite Four again in order to get to him. And we know you can battle Bianca and Sharon again, but those are optional, so we won't count them here. So with that being said, let's talk about them rematches.
Chantal is just an ever so slightly unfavorable matchup for Superior, since it has trouble
cute.
with Frostlash, Drifblim, and Chandelure, but has the advantage over Golurk, it can go even with Cofagrigus, and has type advantage over Jellicent while still
Did
having
you
to watch
switch
out for
to
his
another
Sludge.
Pokemon?
Next up we have Marshall, who has an overall even matchup against Superior. If you look at his team, the only real threats Superior has to worry about are the Sock with Poison Jab, the Mienshao with U-Turn and Acrobatics, and of course the Toxicroak. And the Sock and Mienshao's attacks aren't stabs, so the threat level is diminished a bit. Besides that though, he pretty much goes even with everything else.
Then we have Grimsley. For Superior, this is arguably the most difficult Elite Four battle. While it can deal with Sharpedo and Crocodile, all 4 of the others have super effective moves, and Drapion and Bisharp both resist the crap out of it. Grinsneck no match for my boy Bisharp.
And for the final member of the Elite Four, Caitlyn, which before the rematch was a pretty even matchup. But oh my god, did it change. With the addition of Bronzong and Metagross, these two completely
How dare you put
wall
Jesus
Superior's
there.
attacks.
He's the
And
son
come
of
on,
God.
Look at those stats. Metagross
I don't
is
support that
freaking
blasphemous
insane. Other than that, it only
misinterpretation.
struggles with the Sigilyph and goes even with the rest of the team.
And last but not least, we have Alder. I don't really think we need to explain this one, right? You're all smart people, you know what's going on here. Bug move, dragon type, ice move, bug move, fire move, bug move, rip.
Yep, Alder's team just simply destroys Superior with ease. And all of this adds up to Snivy being one of the toughest starters to choose through your black and white playthrough. With that being said, Oshawott has to be the best starter, right? I mean,
No.
he does fare a lot better against the gym leaders like Berg and Bryson and can hold his own against Chantal, Grimsley, and N.
I wish. Unfortunately, the title can't really go to Oshawott either. Even though the line does do better than the Superior line, they still don't really excel at anything. It's kind of just more of a solid choice than a beneficial one.
Looks like a samurai.
Overall, it struggles less than Superior, but in the gyms that it's useful in, so is Superior. An easy example is against Clay. Obviously, Duat has type advantage, making it super effective against 2 of the 3, but the same thing goes for Superior. And moving on to the Elite Four, it's just really an average choice, like how it doesn't have an advantage against Marshall, Caitlyn, and Getsis, who run a coverage move or 2 that can be a threat if you're not expecting it.
Yeah, I guess you're right when you put it like that. Another key point to add is the amount of coverage moves Samurott can learn. While yes, there are some moves it can learn like X-Scissor or Heart Skilling for Megahorn, there's not really much to work with in terms of having great coverage moves.
Exactly. By level up, all it really has is water moves, and when you're battling so many diverse Pokemon, that's just simply not enough sometimes. If it had more moves from different types that it could learn easier, perhaps it would be the #1 pick, but since it doesn't, that honor has to go to Bacon Boy. Embor.
You know, the fact that the fire type keeps
Embor.
on winning is really starting to get on my nerves.
This is because in Gen 1 they were the worst starter, that's
But if
why.
you really think about it, it is unfortunately the best choice. The added fighting type really helps out against
Charmander was
Lenora and
terrible
Grimsley. It
at the
also
start.
really helps take care of the Team Plasma Grunts since they usually only carry things weak to fighting like Watchog, Liepard, Sandile, and Scraggy. Plus it's always nice to have that extra stab typing.
Yup, and have you seen this thing's move pool? It's freaking insane! Just by level up, it can learn normal, fire, rock, and dark type moves. Also poison, but smog sucks. And with TMs, you can add on types like electric or even grass and water, with moves like Wild Charge, Solar Beam, and Scald. And even though its only fighting move by level up is Arm Thrust, that should easily carry you to Isurus City for Brick Break.
And when you take a look at the graph, Embor generally has better matchups than the other 2 starters. The only cases where Embor falls lower is against Clay, Caitlyn, and kind of Skyla. But not really, since they all do pretty bad. I really hate to say it, but the vast move pool coupled with the added
I think
fighting type
Infernape
really
was the best in Gen 4 as well, because that fucker, he was a fighting fire type. He was like easy, he made the entire like game easy for me.
solidifies Embor as the best starter in Unova. God, I can't wait to see the comment section on this one.
Well, you got some dislikes.
Rizo. That's not fair to say for all of Unova yet, just the first set of games, right?
Alright, what about Black and White
This is
too?
the second part of our 2-part Best Starter Pokemon in Unova series. If you haven't checked out the first part in this series, be sure to click the annotation here. And with all that out of the way, let's get started.
Okay. Oh wow, this part got muted?
Figured out to come back to the second installment of our best starter series in Unova. Last time we figured out that Tepig is statistically the best starter Pokemon in Black and White, and in this episode we will yet again take a look at these 3 starter Pokemon to figure out which one of them is the best starter Pokemon in Black and White too. And again, we are joined today by my good friend the Silver Slasher to help us answer this very question.
That's right. And just like last time, we'll be finding out which gym leader is the most difficult in these games over on my channel, which you should totally check out because if you like this series, you'll probably like that one too.
And like we said before, this video does not reflect our own opinions. These are based on numbers and facts that we've gathered through extensive research, so don't get mad at us, okay? Like pretty please, you just don't. And you guys should already know the process behind how we come to this conclusion, but if you don't, then be sure to click the annotation here to go watch the first part. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and share this video with a friend. And with that being said, let's get started.
For the sake of time in the last video, we went over Snivy's performance in more depth, and compared the other two from there, so this time we'll start with Oshawott. This little water otter is a great addition to your team for many reasons. The first, most glaring benefit is that the only fishing rod you can obtain in this game isn't until post-game, so water types are more rare than usual. It does good against some pretty challenging opponents like Clay, Hugh, and Chantal, and for the most part has pretty even matchups with others.
While yes, this may be true, Oshawott does have some glaring weaknesses to characters like Elisa and Colress. Both of these characters carry strong electric-type Pokemon and moves that can easily take down Oshawott. For example, Colress has a Magneton, Magnezone, and Kling with Thunderbolt, and Elisa... well, she's an electric-type gym leader.
And really hot.
Stop.
True.
Get some help.
But you
I was
forced
about
me
to
put
say
that
that.
line in.
So anyways, Oshawott also has a pretty tough time with gym leaders like Berg and Drayden, as well as Caitlyn of the Elite Four.
You can't hide what you've done behind a stutter joke.
Since in these games Berg decided to drop his Whirlipede for another grass type, the Oshawott line obviously does a bit worse against him. Then with Drayden, obviously Dragon still resists water, so it's hard to get a lot accomplished with Samurott, and Caitlyn's team still has a lot of coverage moves over Samurott, even after Reuniclus for getting Thunder.
And that's pretty much everything special about Oshawott. Like we said, he pretty much goes even after that. So with that being said, let's take a look at Tepig. Black and White's best starter has a fairly good time 2 years later in Black and White 2. Tepig has a very strong showing against Roxy, Berg, Grimsley, and pretty much all of Team Plasma minus Ghetsis. With Roxy, Pignite can easily take down her Whirlipede and doesn't have that much of a
Team
problem with
Plasma,
Coughing.
really?
Berg is even more of a pushover in Black and White 2, replacing his Whirlipede with another Bug Grass type.
Another
Grimsley
team.
still has the same Dark type team, and almost all of Team Plasma carries Dark or Normal types.
This is all true, but he still does go through a fair amount of trouble throughout the game. Take Skyla for example. Even though her newly added Pokemon is weak to Emboar, she still has her Swoobat and Swanna to take care of him. And you can't forget about Clay's ground types, Drayden's dragon types, and especially the new gym leader Marlin's water types. And not only does he have water types, but one of them is even immune to all fighting attacks.
I see where you're coming from, and the problems don't stop there. Well, it appears Ghetsis seemed to learn a lot in the 2-year gap because the newly added Pokemon he has really gives Emboar a tough time. I mean, just look at his team. Almost all of his Pokemon have a counter to Emboar, and the troubles still don't end there. Besides Grimsley, Emboar struggles or goes even with the entire Elite Four and Champion.
You're right there. Literally all of Chantal's Pokemon can easily counter Emboar. Whether it's a Psychic, Acrobatics, or Earthquake, Chantal makes life a living hell for Emboar. After that, you've got Caitlyn with her Psychic moves and Marshall who completely walls Emboar fighting
They
type
put a
moves.
lot more
And top it
dark-skinned
all off,
characters
has a
in
couple
these
Pokemon that can
games.
counter him. I guess when you think about it,
I
Black and White
respect
2 gave
it.
Emboar a lot more difficult of a time than in the previous games. I mean, sure, it has strengths here
Especially
and there,
for
but I guess
Japan
the
at the
cons kinda outweigh
time.
the pros this time, which means the best starter has to be... No. It can't be!
But it is, my silver friend.
Black and
Snivy
white
is
for a
the best
reason.
starter in Unova. And I mean, just look at it, Wade. How could you not
Dang,
see
what a
this point?
buff.
Just look at all the advantages he has. Like, for example, there's,
Wait, no?
well, there's, there's Clay, and Marlin, Wait a minute, why are there so many disadvantages? Wait, I thought you knew the format. It's supposed to go worst, middle, then best. Why Snivy last?
I thought you said we wanted to try something different, you know, because the viewers are getting upset and saying it's a little too predictable.
Oh yeah, See, I do listen. But I guess since we're here now, we might as well explain why it's the worst, right, Wade?
It would be my displeasure.
Rip.
Once again, the Snivy line has been deemed the worst choice of starter in Unova. As much as I love me some Snivy, I can't deny that it just has too many negative matchups. Clay and Marlin are literally the only important characters that it has the advantage over, performing poorly against almost all of the others. I think a big reason for this is the Pokemon's move pool.
Yeah, one of Snivy's biggest flaws is that they learn almost no coverage moves, with Grass and Normal taking up pretty much all of its space. Not to mention that in this game, 3 of the gym leaders are super effective against them. And in Unova, there are just too few water types to fight, and too many bug, flying, fire, and poison types for it to push through and get work done.
It really is, and just as an aside, a lot of people seem to be thinking that because
See, the reason why they made a black 2 and white 2 is because they knew people were just waiting on the 3rd version, so they're like, okay, we're gonna make 3 of the
is the worst
third
choice,
versions,
then it's bad.
bitch.
And that's really not the case. After all the, well, I picked Superior,
Not
and I
enough
beat the
water,
whole game
unlike
with it, so
Gen
you're wrong.
3.
I would just like to say, you could
Rip.
beat the game with a Bidoof, you goober. But anyways, that means we're down to the last 2. So, Arizo,
Gen 2
which
also
starter
has a lot
Pokemon
of
is taking
water.
the title of best starter today?
I'm
could've-
so glad
I could've
you
picked a
asked.
grass
By the
type in that
absolute
one as
closest
well.
margin in the history of the series, the best starter in Black and White 2 is
Torpig.
Emboar.
You suck!
No, I'm just kidding. For the first time ever, the water type starter has actually won. Since we sort of glossed over key points about Samurott, allow us to further explain.
Throughout the Unova region, the Oshawott line just generally accomplishes what it needs to, only having a real struggle against Alessa and Colress with the obvious electric types, and minor struggles with some others. Examples of this are Drayden, who has the resistance but doesn't have anything super effective to fire back with, and Caitlyn, who runs non-stab coverage moves like Charge Beam, Energy Ball, and Thunderbolt. Plus, if you happen to come across a Heart Scale, you can give your Samurott Mega Horn, which will be very useful for taking out those pesky Psychic types as well as the ever-present Grass types.
Other than those few matchups, Samurott does generally above average. And again, these 2 Pokemon were so evenly matched that we had to nitpick a lot more than usual to get this outcome. What really killed Emboar in the end though was his slow speed and Hugh's team. When we took a closer look at the Clay Gym battle, we noticed that even though the fighting type is super effective against Krokorok and Excadrill, both of them are way faster and have a better chance to knock it out.
At the point that we started to look at Hugh, it was looking like it was going to be a perfect tie between Emboar and Samurott. However, at that moment we realized that if your Samurott has Revenge, you can more than likely knock out Buffalon before it takes you out with a Wild Charge. It doesn't actually do as much damage to you as Revenge does to it, and with the recoil from the move it just used, you overall have the advantage. The final thing that sealed the deal was ironically the one thing that made Emboar so good originally: the fighting type. Being a fighting type means that Emboar is weak to the moves of 3 of Hugh's team, instead of just 2. So with all of this in mind, it seemed fair that Oshawott deserved just 1 more point, sealing his position as the best starter in Black and White 2.
It's so refreshing to see that the water type starter finally gets the upper hand over the other 2.
What's the
Again,
next gen?
Refreshing.
Kalos?
I think a top-notch pun like that is a good place.
Oh, I watched 2 minutes of this.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna April Fool's you guys again, but the best starter in Kalos is finally here. So now you guys can finally stop asking me for it. Because it's here. Took you long enough. So yeah, who have I not collabed with yet?
Water
Let's
indisputably
see.
the best starter.
Oh, I know. I could call True Green. I know he loves me. Hey, of course there is no right or wrong starter to pick, but there definitely is a best Pokemon to choose that would benefit you the most.
And in case you haven't seen the previous starter Pokemon videos, we will be looking at each important character's individual Pokemon and rate each starter disadvantage,
Basically every evil team, and we
being the best advantage.
We'll take a look at stats, type matchups, moves, basically everything. And we don't just take into account the gyms in Elite Four either, we also take a look
Frog
at
is
rival
OP.
battles and evil teams since they are both prominent and necessary in order to
Is this
progress
one
in the
X
story.
and Y?
We should also mention that we will be adding more points the more times you have to battle an important character. For example, you battle Lysander 3 times,
Yeah,
so we will be
okay.
using the rating system for each separate battle and
I'd
adding up the
almost
points from
prefer it
there.
if they
One
used a
more
number
thing to add is that we
system.
will not be taking into account TMs either, cause, well, there are just so many factors as to why it would derail this entire video. All of this should give us a good idea as to who the best starter in Kalos is. Just remember there are no real opinions here, so if your favorite starter isn't technically the best, then don't hate the player. Hate Arizo. He did the research, I'm just helping out.
If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like. I'm just trying to brainwash your viewers.
Subscribe to. Okay, let's start off with the starter that I picked in Pokemon X, Chespin. So we're basically just going in order of the Kalos decks.
Okay, so let's take a look at Chespin's strengths. This Pokemon has one of the more easier starts to the game, and that's because of one move. Rollout. Let me explain. The first gym leader in the game is Viola, and as you guys know, she is a bug type specialist. And I know it may sound stupid saying Chespin has an easy time in the beginning, considering it has to face all these bug types, but like I said, man, rollout. It's pretty good. Plus, Chespin doesn't even have to worry about bug attacks because Viola only has one bug type.
Is that the fire type?
A very weak infestation.
Her Surskit's also part water,
That's
so
normal.
Chespin's grass type attacks can do way more than expected.
Wait, grass?
After that, though, it runs into a lot of problems throughout the rest of the gyms. It's not until Clement and his electric types that Chespin really gets a good advantage in battle. However, that's where most of Chespin's gym battle advantages end. But where Chestnut truly shines is when it goes up against Team Flare and your rivals.
Since we will need more time to talk about Team Flare, let's take a closer look at the 4 rivals in the game. Shauna can give Chestnut a semi-difficult time, but most of the moves she has on her team are non-stab, so there isn't much to worry here. Tierno would be the next rival you face, and he is one of the easiest matchups for Chespin. The reason being that his starter is a Corphish. Plus, on her final team, the only Pokemon you have to worry about is Talonflame, because while yes, Roserade is a poison type, the only move it can use is Petal Dance.
There's also Trevor, and although he may look like a pushover, he's actually the second most difficult rival Chestnut has to face. This dude ends up with a Raichu that has Nuzzle, which will be annoying. There's also Aerodactyl with Skydrop and Florges with Moonblast. But out of all the starters, Chestnut does have a better chance against Trevor.
And last but certainly not least, we have the main rival of the game, Serena or Callum. The first battle is honestly not as hard as you think it would be. For starters, she has an Absol, which is neutral at this point, a Meowstic, which again is neutral, and of course a Braixen. But as its fire move, Braixen only has Fire Spin, which
That's
is
the
a
one I
base
would have chose.
35
Braixen.
damage. I'm not saying that Aquilidin would
I like
take out
the
a Braixen, but with a move
fire
like
mage
that, you're
aesthetic.
giving him a chance.
But as time progresses,
I think
your
it looks
team gets
cool.
harder and harder. You gotta deal with Meowstic's psychic attacks, Altaria, and Delphox is just a real pain in the neck. But what can you really expect from a rival? Now Arizo, what makes Chespin so great against Team Flare? I mean, they have Flare in the name, so fire types must be an issue, right?
Well, the new fighting dual type Chestnut receives actually comes in serious handy against Team Flare. Let's start with the Grunts. As you guys know, the Grunts like to use a lot of dark type Pokemon. That means you will have to face a lot of Lipards, Mightyenas, and Houndooms. And aside from Houndoom, Chestnut would be the go-to starter to take care of those Pokemon. There are also a surprising amount of electric type Pokemon, and although Chestnut can't hit it with super effective attacks, it does resist the type, which can be useful.
There are also the Team Flare admins, which are essentially just Grunts with a bit stronger Pokemon. They have the same types of Pokemon that Grunts do, Dark and Electric, but now with more of a focus on poison types as well, which can be a slight problem for Chestnut. Never mind, it's a big problem. Moving on though, let's talk about the most important members of Team Flare, the Scientists. The first of them that you meet is Aliana. Her Pokemon aren't at all a problem for Chestnut. The next Team Flare Scientist you have to face is Bryony. I like her a lot. Mostly because she's green, but also because her Pokemon get creamed by Chestnut.
I like
After
her
that, you
because
have
of
to
her.
go through
Never mind.
Celosia, who is a bit more difficult.
Damn,
On her team,
hold
she's
up.
rocking a Manectric with Flamethrower and a Drapion with Poison Jab, so you may run into a few problems there. And finally, the last and probably most difficult scientist Chestnut has to face is Xerosic. The reason why I say this is because Chestnut literally can't do anything to his team. Like, seriously, just look at it. And that's kind of the end of Chestnut's advantages.
He also can't really do a lot to Lysander's team. Hitler Wolverine here wants to be a special snowflake, so he doesn't have a team consisting of one type like most of the other evil team
Hitler
leaders. But in our
Wolverine.
final battle, Lysander's team becomes a little easier to face because his Gyarados can now Mega Evolve, making him really weak to Chestnut.
And remember how we talked about how Chestnut runs into a lot of problems against the gyms? Well, yeah, we should probably go over that. Let's start off with Grant. His first Pokemon, Amora, has a killer ice type move being Aurora Beam, but you should be able to get through Amora because surprisingly enough, off, this fat tub of lard is actually faster than Amora. But Tyron's dragon typing will unfortunately make Quilladin's grass moves neutral. Now if Quilladin had that fighting type, this would be a very different story, but you won't get that until you're a Chestnut.
Next up, we have Corina, who is a rather interesting character because she's the only gym leader that you battle more than once in this game. The first time you come up against her is in Geosenge Town, and she's toting 2 Lucarios. Again, at this point in the game, you just have a Quilladin, so you can't directly do anything against Lucario, and after a couple of power-up punches, this Pokemon can be a problem. Like a real problem. Run, Quilladin! Run! Run away, you chubby hedgehog!
What's funny though is that Corina really focuses on Lucario and how it can Mega Evolve, but in the gym, Corina doesn't even use one. Like, what the f, man? Well, either way, her Hawlucha's Flying Press will literally end Quilladin's life and erase Chestnut from existence. Basically, Hawlucha is the Grim Reaper of Chestnuts.
And if you think the pain stops there, then you're right. Just kidding, you're incredibly wrong. Aside from Clement, the entire rest of the gym leaders are just not a whole lot of fun for Chestnut. Ramos has Jumpluff and Weeping Bell. Valerie has special attacking fairies, Olympia has powerful psychic types, and Wolfric has faster ice types. Like we said, gym battles are not Chestnut's strong suit.
But after the gym battles, it's finally time to take on the Elite Four, and to put it lightly, it does not have a very good time. The only good matchup that he has is against Seabold, and half of his Pokemon could actually counter it back. All the other members are just too
the
much
grass
for Chestnut
type
to
is the
handle.
worst
There's Malva's
again,
fire types,
isn't it?
Chestnut's dragon types, and Wickstrom's steel dual types that can easily counter Chestnut. And don't even get me started on Diantha. Just look at that team. Ugh.
So as you can see, Chespin does have some clear weaknesses in gym battles. But when it comes to repeated battles like Rivals and Team Flare, Chestnut is actually pretty good there. But you know who is good at gym battles? This sack of cuteness.
Yeah, you're right. Fennekin is surprisingly the most consistent out of all the starters in Gym and Elite Four battles. It starts off great against Viola, can handle Corina in both battles even if it's not a Delphox, destroys Ramos, goes even with Clement, is the only starter that can actually handle Valerie, and has no problem with Wolfric. The only problems that Fennekin has are with Grant and Olympia.
Fennekin also has a much easier time than Chespin against the Elite Four. It has no problem with Wickstrom, is at pretty much a stalemate
I think
with
its
Malva.
third
aside
form
from
actually looks
Chandelure,
worse.
And, well, Delphox struggles with the other 2 Elite Four members for obvious reasons.
But Delphox definitely has the best chance out of all the starters against Diantha. The only Pokemon it has to worry about are Tyrantrum, Goodra, and some non-stab moves. The rest, Delphox can either counter or just straight up beat. But where Delphox really struggles is actually where Chespin really shines.
It has by far the worst matchup against Serena, struggles with Tierno's Crawdaunt, does alright against Trevor, and struggles with 2 of Shauna's Pokemon. And remember how we talked about Team Flare's Dark types? Well, I think it's more than obvious that those are going to give Delphox some serious trouble.
Yeah, the focus on Dark types really hurts Fennekin here. And it's not just the grunts, the entire faction itself puts a giant focus on Dark type Pokemon. Aliana, Bryony, Mabel, Celosia, Xerosic, even Lysander, and he has a freaking Mega Gyarados. Yes, they do also put a focus on Poison types too, but again, there are more Dark types than any other type on Team Flare. Yeah, Team Flare is definitely not fun for Delphox.
Well, I guess all that's left to talk about is the last starter of the 3, Froakie. And unlike Fennekin, Froakie thrives against Team Flare, just like Chespin, except maybe a little better. Froakie can take out a lot of Team Flare's Pokemon besides the electric types of course, but Greninja can definitely handle the more common types among Team Flare, especially those pesky Houndooms.
I think what really works out in Greninja's favor is that it doesn't really have to worry about taking super effective hits. Like with the Team Flare scientists, the only one Greninja really has to worry about is
Smash Bros, so it has to be
Manectric,
really
which
good.
Greninja can also outspeed. Besides that, there's little to no threats besides the occasional non-stab bug moves. Sometimes just being neutral with everything is good enough. And finally, there's Lysander, and out of everyone on his team, the only Pokemon you have to worry about is Mienshao. The rest of the Pokemon are either weak to it or just stay neutral.
But Greninja is not without its weaknesses as well. Like Chestnut, this valiant shinobi frog struggles with gym leaders too. In fact, from Corina to Valerie, it gets completely destroyed. That's basically the entire mid-game.
He does.
You do get a break with Olympia, but it's right back to being annoying once you get to Wolfric and his Abomasnow.
But at least with the Elite Four, it's not as bad as it is in the gyms. It does well against Malva and Wickstrom, but pretty much against everyone else in the champion, he struggles. But is the struggle with the gyms in the Elite Four enough to completely derail Greninja from the conversation?
I guess the only way to find out is to tally up the points.
So after tallying up all the points, the definitive best starter in Pokemon X and Y is... Froakie.
Hey, I thought you said Fennekin and Chespin had a chance.
Yeah, and they did. Never said one of them was gonna win, though.
You know, I'm not even mad. This just confirms what we all assumed from the very beginning.
Well, yeah, but let me explain. What Froakie had that the other starters just didn't was speed. Because when you're in a matchup where both sides have super effective moves, most of the time the faster Pokemon will win. Chestnut has no speed, and Delphox may have a little speed, but it's nowhere near Greninja's. But that's obviously not the only thing. Where Delphox went wrong is that in the reoccurring battles like Team Flare and the Rivals, it struggles a lot. But in the battles that you only have to fight once like gym battles, Delphox excels in. But since you have to fight Team Flare and the Rivals more than one time, in a sense they do become a bit more important because they are going to be a reoccurring problem. But if this was just about gym battles and Elite Four, then Fennekin would be the clear-cut winner.
Yeah, that's definitely interesting to know.
About gym battles and Elite
What the hell is wrong with that guy's beard?
Four, then Fennekin would be the clear-cut winner.
Yeah, that's definitely interesting to know. And I can see where Chestnut fell flat. It followed the same pattern as Greninja, being strong against Team Flare and the Rivals, but unfortunately for Chestnut, Team Flare loves to use Houndoom. And since Houndoom is faster and is a special attacker, there is no way Chestnut is going to beat Houndoom. So basically, Greninja did Chestnut's job a bit better.
Yep. In the end, the biggest factors to Greninja's win are its unmatchable speed and its neutralities with Team Flare. The best starter in Pokemon X and Y is Greninja.
Okay, now that we know which starter is the best in Kalos, I think I'm gonna ask an even greater question. What is the best Pokemon generation? But first we gotta
Gen 4. I don't know, they're all basically the same, who cares? Probably the latest one. What the hell is this? Schedule 1 is a problem. They hate this game. They want it gone. I know Asmon's basically addicted to that freaking game. Because he's been playing it for like 4 days straight. The hell's the even appeal of that, the appeal of that freaking game, you know? Doesn't look that appealing to me. The ultimate Pokemon handheld finally exists. Mr. Beast. Every time he helps people in Africa, people say he has a white savior complex. Or they complain about him not helping Americans instead. You know, Twitter, it's not a real place. %100% One Piece, blind One Piece review. Egghead Island. I think that's the full manga, so I'm not gonna watch that on stream because just in case an anime only person comes in, goes like, "Yo, you spoiled it." Lunar Remastered collection review. It's okay, I'm gonna win that collection. Oh, this game I might try on stream. Look, Metroidvania, type of Castlevania, I mean, come on now. got this skills as well? Yep. It bugs me that the hearts are blue. Can't rely on Konami to make another Castlevania, so we have to rely on fan games. Innocent Devils. What is this? Just a 2.5D remake? Or 2.5D? 2D remake. D-make, I guess. Yep. Mega Man 12 win. Or how about X9? X9 with Sonic Mania style sprites. None of this 3D shit. Demo available right now. (0-5) win. Why would there be a 0-5? Zero's dead. Unless you're joking. They can tell us he didn't die. No. Him dying was the best part of 0-4. He had a great send-off. I will defend that ending. I will also defend the Gurren Lagann ending. Because that was also amazing, but a lot of people hate that one as well. What Trump really destroyed? I might watch that on stream later. Pokemon Adventures in 65 minutes. Okay, I'm just gonna call today. I'm actually starving right now. I didn't eat this morning. Ooh. It's a short stream, but you know. We had to make Red look free, and it was a very quick massacre, you know. Time to watch the Pokemon movie? Alright, sure, I'll do